Coming up next on the NHERITD
Podcast.
Podcast.
Should I keep going? Should I look at what's next? Should I appreciate what I have right now? Should I stop and, smell the roses? Like what, So I think that performance coaching normally resonates more with those that are more ambitious because they are constantly looking for the next challenge. Anytime you set off to set a goal, whatever that might be, the basis of it you should ask yourself what that personal benefit will be. But the very next question you should ask yourself, and what I feel like you should base your goals off of, is how can I set the bar within this? Know how to move to the next level. And regardless of where you're starting from, what level you're starting from, everybody has a next level.
Agreed.
So again, the basis of performance coaching is trying to figure out what do you need and who do you need to become in order to reach that next level, whatever that next level might be. I make no promises. My only promise is that you're going to become the best version of yourself in this process, and that you're going to really understand what it feels like to, push past your capabilities. And that's my only goal, is that you understand what it looks like to push past what you thought was a limit. If you can get to that point to where you feel like, I thought I couldn't do this, or I thought this was some type of limitation, but it actually wasn't that bad, or it wasn't that hard, I feel like my job is done.
Building a legacy, so watch how you study me. You know it's inherited, ain't no comparison, stacking up guaranteed. Moving so militant, consistent and disciplined. Getting that paper and stacking it up, no time for no chillin', man. Building a legacy, so watch how you study me. You know it's inherited, ain't no comparison, stacking up guaranteed. Moving so militant, consistent and disciplined.
What's good? It's Sir Gates. You're now tuned to the NHERITD Podcast. Once again, thank y'all for coming back week after week, tuning in. Again, as always, I appreciate everybody who come on this platform. But per usual, we got another special guest today, man. We're going to get right into it. So we have Coach K, performance coach. And one thing I have to announce, we already out in California on her turf, all right, to get this podcast recorded. So this is a special interview, the first across the states. All right, so we're going to lock in real quick. So how you doing, man?
I'm great.
That's good. That's good. Nah, thank you for being a guest on this platform. It's been a long time coming. We'll have a good conversation and really dive in and get your origin story, right? So again, like I tell people, the purpose of this podcast, of course, is the NHERITD Podcast. So I push the message of legacy and inheritance, right? Now I just feel as if our past, our present, trials, tribulations, whatever we went through pretty much created who we are today. So we're going to just dive in, get your background, and see who you are, okay? But before we get started, right, I always have an icebreaker question, okay? We both going to answer it, but you'll go first. Okay. Nothing crazy. It's pretty much on brand. You ready?
Okay, yeah.
All right, so the question is, how do you encourage others to persevere through their challenges?
Oh,
yeah.
I think for me, it's been about just what it feels like to operate in your highest self. I think that when you operate in your higher self, the challenges that you need to persevere through are less like a war that needs to be fought and more like a game that needs to be played. So really encouraging people to look at challenges as though it's a game. It's fun. Like, this is what life is about. Like, challenges produce growth, expansion. So you definitely, it's perspective. So I guess in, shifting people's perspective ultimately.
All right, I like that answer. So for myself, I would say, I usually tell people, it's just like, how are you ever going to know whether this is right or this is wrong if you don't go through things or you fail? So a challenge is never, in my eyes, a bad thing, unless you may have had either a performance coach or a life coach or an elder or a parent just to speak into you, to teach you these things. You got to go through certain stuff to figure out, is this right for me? Is this bad for me? Is this right? Is it wrong in general, right? So going through those things will teach you those life lessons. That's how I just tell people, like, hey, no matter what you're going through, just take it as a positive. You can always pull something good from what you deem to be bad. So that's how it motivates.
So also perspective. Yeah.
Facts. I guess the key right here is perspective, right?
Shift your perspective.
Okay, cool. So now that we got that out the way, right? So what I want to do is just take us back to young K, right? Childhood, growing up in a household, like family-wise. Because again, a lot of that may have played a part into maybe why you chose the route you chose and who you are today, right? So just give us a little backstory how that was for you growing up.
Okay.
You can be as transparent as you want to and be as authentic as you want to. You ain't got to hold back nothing, right? So it's all you.
Well, I grew up in a household with me and my mother. And she was extremely supportive. So I was definitely the kid that liked to kind of explore different things in terms of like, do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? Very indecisive. So I think that her support, if I said I wanted to do gymnastics, she was there. She was there and fully supportive. Like, okay, looking for the classes, looking for where we need to be. I said I want to do cheer, same thing. I said I wanted to be a psychologist, same thing. Like when I said I wanted to act, she made sure that she put me in acting classes, like every step of the way. And every time I decided that I wanted to do something, she was there to support. So I grew up in a very supportive environment. And I think that exploration and that ability to express certain things definitely allowed me to freely explore and have the privilege of understanding and knowing and finding my passion a lot faster than I feel like people normally do. Just because I was able to explore so many different things with support behind me. If I had to sum it up, I would say, I just came from a very supportive environment.
Understood.
And it was me and her, like,
so it was just you and your mom only? Your dad was in the picture?
I had a distant relationship with my father, not very close. That relationship wasn't the best. I did, I went there holidays, summers, but that environment wasn't necessarily healthy. And I think that when you're younger, you are a lot more impressionable.
Facts.
So at that time, I think that although our relationship wasn't the best, and although the environment with him wasn't the most healthy environment, I feel as though having the ability to experience what that was and also experience what life was with my mom, it gave me that diversity. And because I'm impressionable at that time, I'm understanding diversity now. I'm understanding that everybody isn't the same. I'm understanding, the complexity of the human experience, so I think that was actually good for me. And I did have a stepdad.
That's good.
And he was present for most of my life, up until maybe about 16, 17. So having that figure also did, help, and he was loving and he was also supportive. So overall, a very, like I said, supportive environment.
Did you have siblings?
No, he had a daughter, but she was only out here summers and holidays, but I was then with my dad at that time. So we never really
So you connected. Was the only child. I mean, of course, you had like a stepsister kind of. Only child, just you and your mom. Your dad really wasn't kind of there, and you had a father figure, but not there for a specific amount of time.
Yeah.
So having said that, right, I mean, like in my household, I have both parents and I have 3 other siblings. But I often tell people as well, just because you may have both parents in a household, it's still not always peaches and cream, and it's just you may get all this love and this and that. Because in my house growing up, we were trying to survive. So because of that, the lack of showing affection and love, that was missing, because it was more so like, hey, we got to pay these bills and do X, Y, and Z. And I know for myself, that played a toll on my mind mentally as well. So, but for you, not having your biological dad there and also being the only child with your mom, how did that affect you mentally growing up? I know you said it was kind of good and whatnot, but how did that, do you think you missed out on so much, or how did that play a role in your mindset?
I feel like because I was able to experience him, even though it wasn't in the same household as my mother, I still got that same effect as though if he was in the household. And I got to really understand that, in seeing how different they were, understand that if they were together, it probably wouldn't have been the most effective and the healthiest environment. So I think being able to still experience him, still be able to experience what it's like to live with him, made me appreciate him not being there a little more. I don't know how that sounds, but just having that experience. So it didn't really feel like I was missing out on much, because I still was able to experience what it was like having him around. Now I will say, having to watch my mother play both roles,
that's a big part there, for sure.
It did give me a sense of more appreciation for her. But I do think that if I did say that I missed out on anything, it would be I missed out on what it looks like to be a woman that's able to just be in her
that feminine
energy only. But when you do have to take on different roles, you know, you have to play both. So as far as examples for me in terms of that, I will say that if I missed out on anything, that would
and I hear that a lot as far as like when a woman is like raising kids by themselves and this and that, they're just not able to be that soft person or that.
Right.
I mean, a female is always a nurturer, like in heart. That's who
which my mom was very nurturing.
See,
very.
You don't get that regardless, but
Yeah.
I can only imagine. Of course, just speaking from a male perspective, like the things that men are responsible for in a household, outside of a household, putting that weight on a woman's shoulders, on top of naturally wanting to just take care of this child and provide for this child, it can possibly be a heavy weight on their shoulders. So how could you even think about, let me go and pamper myself twice a week, or go take my long walks to wind down the mental health? It's like I gotta go because that's two jobs plus your main job if you had one, all in one household. So I can understand that. But so I want to ask, right, going on a route of becoming a performance coach and seeing how you grew up, and of course that was just like post childhood. What sparked in your mind to say, hey, I feel like I'm the one, or I'm interested in trying to help people navigate their lives? But also before that, just explain like your definition of like what it is you do in the thing of a performance coach.
Okay, so I'll explain just what a performance coach is, you know, first. So performance coaching, the basis of it is, it's not really about the result. I'm not coaching you to a specific result, or my promise is not that you're going to get this result. The result is normally inevitable. So we don't have to talk much about the result. The basis of performance coaching is coaching who you're becoming in the process of getting that thing. Okay. But it's also in the process of what it looks like to go from one level to the next constantly. And that can be a heavy weight on a lot of people's shoulders, right? When we hit a certain goal, we feel like, should I keep going? Should I look at what's next? Should I appreciate what I have right now? Should I stop and, you know, smell the roses? Like what, you know? So I think that performance coaching normally resonates more with those that are more ambitious because they are constantly looking for the next challenge. And it is a blend of learning how to appreciate where you are, what you've accomplished, feel that gratitude, but also know how to move to the next level. And regardless of where you're starting from, what level you're starting from, everybody has a next level.
Agreed.
So again, the basis of performance coaching is trying to figure out what do you need and who do you need to become in order to reach that next level, whatever that next level might be.
Understood.
Yeah, so that's the basic. It's the becoming. It's the becoming of it. Now, what you ask?
Like,
why?
so what made you just feel like this is what I want to do? Like, I want to be a performance coach. Like, what did something happen? Did you go through a certain situation where it was like, all right, this is what I need?
Journey. Yeah,
hey,
I feel like
explain it.
Right. I feel like that started, you know, when I was in middle school. You know, just back to childhood. When I was in middle school, I watched my mother transform. And she had got into the law of attraction. She watched a documentary called The Secret. She watched it for the first time. And she had just got laid off from her job. And it was, you know, obviously raising a kid on your own, like being a single mother. Obviously, she had help, but it was still kind of that question of like, what's next? And I had always watched my mother be a pursuer of her passion. So that was always something that was in the back of my mind. She never just worked just because. Like, she always pursued what she wanted to pursue, regardless of, you know. Right? So when she kind of got into that, I watched a lot of her life change. And getting into the law of attraction, the first thing that I noticed was that she got happier. And not for any particular reason, nothing necessarily changed. She just got happier. She was just a happier person. And from that, her body changed, you know, lost the weight. She was pre-diabetic. She lowered her A1C levels. She completely shifted her career, completely shifted her income.
That's amazing.
And like her whole life shifted. Our relationship shifted. It got stronger. It got better. All based off of just her simply being happier. So that automatically made me curious as to, but I'm still young. So I'm like paying attention, but I'm not really paying attention. I'm transitioning into high school. So I'm maybe like 13 at the time, 13, 14. And then watching her live her best life pretty much in that high school, those high school years of mine. So watching her life go from not terrible, but what it was to
I got you.
Extraordinary. So watching her life shift was definitely inspiring, and that made me curious as to what it is I actually wanted to do. So I started to ask myself that question, just very much pondering that question, like late high school years. And I explored a couple different routes. So I wanted to be an actress, and that was something. Okay. And I was kind of like playing with that. I did acting classes. I did a couple things in regards to that, but I learned quickly that was not my passion. And and so from there, in the midst of wanting to act, I was being told a lot by a lot of different coaches, which was, number one, as a woman, your body always has to be on point. So I kind of got, even though I was young and naturally your body's okay because you're young, I got into the obsession with making sure my body was on point. So my mom already being on her health journey, and then me being told that in that industry, I started to work out. And I think I just became obsessed with that because at that time I didn't know what else I wanted to do. So working out just kind of became my life. Like I was doing that 4 hours a day. Like that was not at once, but I would like work out for an hour in the morning, then again in the middle of the day, then again at night. Like just,
so you doing 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, it was just like, I don't know what else to do, so I'm doing this. And that naturally transformed into just tracking my journey, documenting it. It naturally transformed into people asking me, what are you doing? Da da da. So I kind of got into like fitness coaching in a way, and was doing that for a while. And then I started doing challenges. And there were 2-week challenges. Yeah, fitness challenges. There were 2-week challenges, and we would have a community. In that community, the engagement and the energy in the community was so powerful. And I noticed that people were more so changing, not based off the workouts they were doing, but based off of the energy that they were receiving, the support they were receiving, and the mindset of it all, because we would drop like motivational videos and all that kind of stuff. So I started seeing what the overall concept of growth and change looked like. It wasn't just about doing the specific act to change in that specific area. Like it wasn't just about working out, eating right. It was about the mindset behind it. It was about the support that you have, the community that you have. So and kind of like trying to dissect what that was and what it really takes to grow and change, I started to get curious about the question of if you can grow in one area, what does it look like in other areas? Does it look different? Does it look the same?
Discovery question right there.
Does it look the same? Like, what is that process if you want to grow in business? If you want to grow in relationships, like, what does that look like? And I started to figure out that it pretty much was the same process. Like, the specifics of it, like growing a business looks different from growing your body, obviously. But the basis of it, mindset, community, support, was about the same. So I'm like, okay, well, if that's the case, what does that look like? So I started to explore that, and 2020 happened, and we all kind of had a moment.
Everybody sat down by that one, unfortunately.
To kind of just relax and just, figure things out. So I took that question, and I really decided at that time to really dissect it. And I realized that life coaching was a thing. So I got certified as a life coach in 2020. And after that, I met a lot of people in that course. So we were kind of all in that community, discovering different things, talking about different things in terms of like growth, clientele, where we wanted to go. And talking to different coaches. Like there was a relationship coach in there. There were other kind of coaches. And I'm like, I really feel like everybody's saying the same thing. How can I condense all of this information down into what is the basis of what growth is supposed to be? So I started to play with different things. And I had a lot of clients from when I was doing fitness that was willing to be my guinea pig. Like, okay, I'll, this life coaching thing that you're doing, like I'll be your client for that. So I started to work with different clients and work with them on business, relationships, just different aspects of their life. And but 2021, 2022, it was really about discovering what overall growth looks like, transitioning out of fitness. And 2023, I found performance because I read the book Relentless, and it's by Tim Grover, and he is he's a trainer for the greats, Michael Jordan, Kobe. So I read that book and I became obsessed with what greatness looked like. It went from growth to like the idea of greatness, and I became obsessed with that idea, and that led me into a whole other research of just greatness and performing at your best. And then high performance came about because I read a book called Beyond High Performance.
You said
and
like high performance?
High performance.
Okay.
Yeah. So the book was called Beyond High Performance.
Okay.
And I read that book and I fell in love with that because I'm like, I feel like everything this guy is saying, I feel like I've been saying that anyway.
Like connect them like this.
Yeah, I've been saying that this whole time. That's what it's called. Oh, it's called high performance. Okay, cool. So now I put a name to what I already was like, diving into. And I'm like, so everything I've been kind of researching and practicing and creating my program around is called high performance. So now I have a name to associate with it. I started to dive deeper into developing myself as a high performance coach, putting that title on it ultimately. 2023 was really about unapologetically stepping into that because I had already felt like I went from fitness to just life coaching.
Just about to
like,
ask you
dang,
that.
Like this is a lot.
Like, how did you just buckle down and say, I'm still doing it?
But I'm like, at the end of the day, everything I've been saying is high performance anyway. So let me just unapologetically move forward with that. And 2024 was about taking that and getting actual results. So I worked with a lot of clients, influencer marketing. I did a lot of influencer clients, content creator clients. I worked with musicians. I worked with a couple athletes. I worked with, and just, stay-at-home mothers, people in corporate. I start entrepreneurs. I just started working with all different type of people. And I'd like to think that in order to master something, you always have to be a student. So I'm always going to be in the process of learning what high performance looks like. But as I'm doing that, all I can really do is as I learn, I can teach. So I'm just in that process of learning and teaching constantly. Like it goes through me and it goes through my clients.
As it should, though.
So that's like the flow that I'm in right now. And that's been the journey.
So let me ask you this, right? So with that, you were doing performance coaching, right? But from the outside looking in, there's you, and then there's a prospective client, and to get them to even trust you to, hey, not saying take control of my life, but to try to help me get somewhere from where I'm at now to point B. How did you build a confidence to just say, you know what, I'm gonna do this for you, even though like you say, I'm not promising you X, Y, and Z results, but I know for a fact that if I help you out in this kind of area, you're going to see some kind of growth. But did you experience any kind of imposter syndrome, or how did you just build up the fact that it's saying, because it's somebody's life and mindset that's very powerful. Yeah. And for you to say, I'm going to help you develop that, that can be scary to some people. So how did you get into that space of where you say, you know what, I'm confident in doing this, and this is that. So did you kind of experience some of those ups and downs?
Briefly, but not in that aspect, more so in the aspect of, my audience. How is my audience going to respond to the fact that I was in fitness not too long ago and now I'm in life? Like, are they going to respond to that? So more so in terms of my platform. Yeah. I experienced that. In terms of actually like actual clientele and being able to confidently talk to anybody as a coach, I feel like I was always easy. It was hard to explain it. Yeah. So I learned that how do I get around trying to explain what I do? And I just started confidently telling people, like, let me just show you. Like, let's just have a call. Let's just have a consultation. And at the end of that, if you don't feel like you can get the value, then it's okay. But if you feel like this is where you need to be,
let's do this thing.
Then let's do it. So I just learned that it's so much better to show than to tell, and try to explain what you do, especially because it is so broad. And because at the end of the day, like, words don't actually teach. So there's nothing I can say that will land. You have to just experience it. So I just got confident in knowing that people are going to try you. They're going to try to ask, like, wasn't you just doing this? Now you're doing this? Or what do you really do? Like, what is that about? And I'm like, I could try to over explain to try to, sell you, or I can just confidently say, I can show you better than I can tell you.
So you actually had those questions come up before?
Yes.
So what was your response to that?
I can show you better than I can tell
all right.
you. Let's have a call. Let's have a consultation and give me an hour. Like, that's all I need is an hour. And I just focused in that call. I wasn't trying to sell them. Like at the end, I didn't have the mindset that at the end of this call, I'm gonna try to sell them a package. Like,
hate being sold.
It was just, let me provide as much value as possible right now, and let you ask me at the end how much you charge. Like, I want this, I want this more. So that's what I just focused all of my energy on. If I can just get them on a call, the work will speak for itself. Yeah.
So now that you're deep into doing it, right? So is there like a specific avatar that you look for that says this fits the profile of somebody who I want to take on as a client, or is it just whomever reaches out, I'm gonna shoot my shot and try and see if I can help them out? Or do you have like not a diagram, like say an avatar of this is the perfect person so I can render my services to?
Yeah, not necessarily, because I like I said earlier, like, it doesn't matter where you're starting from. In order to go from where you are to get to the next level, there's a process of growth, there's a process of challenge, and there's a process of like uncomfortability to get to that next level. That can be a low level person that is struggling with the basics, like consistency, I'm struggling with procrastination, like the basic stuff. Or that can be somebody who already is a high performer, who already is ambitious, who already has accomplished so much, and there's still more I can do. I just don't know where to start. So I think that with that and understanding that, I did have to understand that first, though. Like, at first it was like, okay, who am I actually talking to?
Yeah.
If I am a high performance coach, can I talk to lower performers? But it's like, it really doesn't matter where you're starting from. Like, the bottom line is the next level.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of like where I like to stay, because people will try to box you in and say, well, what is your avatar? Who is your ideal client? Da, da, da. But it's somebody that wants to grow. Like, no matter where you're starting from, as long as you want to grow, I can help.
You got some assistant for them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I heard a lot of course, and this is just globally, like mindset, confidence, discipline. Yeah. In your opinion, if you just had to, I know all of them are important, right? Yeah. To choose which one is the most important in the process of like receiving your coaching and also giving it, what's the most important? I mean, I think I have an answer for myself, because I believe in it wholeheartedly, but what do you think?
Okay, we'll ask it again.
Like a mindset, discipline, like all those things, which is the most important for a person to actually be able to succeed in their growth journey? It'd be a hard choice, because they all kind of tie in and play into one. But if you had to choose one, like, what is it, and then
where
why?
Would you start? I think that the most important thing.
Let's see if we're on the same page right
The most important thing, it starts with like a growth mindset. It starts with like the openness.
Yeah. Because
when you do believe that your abilities, your talent, or whatever your circumstances are kind of like limiting you to, you kind of like blame wherever you are on those things. You don't actually believe that those things can change. So it starts with the knowing that as far as talent, I can grow my talent. As far as like knowledge, I can grow my knowledge. As far as my conditions, I can change my conditions if I change my mind. Like the openness and the understanding that growth is always an option. So I think a growth mindset, that's where it starts.
I would have to say mindset too, because it's just like, in my opinion, like your brain is just the most important part. Because if you're not there mentally, your body is just not going to react anyway. So you got to really just condition yourself and do the work. Like for example, like therapy and counseling. Like that for me, like I went to the military, and my job out there was just shooting rockets. So doing that and then coming back to the civilian world, I was just like, what am I about to do out here? So it kind of put me in the slump. But that started my journey of saying, you know what, I want to be better as a person. I just want to work on personal development. But it started with that mindset. I had to come back home, had that talk with myself, get right, go to therapy, just hear those questions that never been asked to me before to get a response to say, hey, okay, this is my path and this is where I want to go. So I can say I do wholeheartedly agree that, again, it's not a quote, a saying, like mindset separates the best from the rest. So if you're not there mentally, you can still get to where you're going, but it's kind of going to kind of be an uphill battle, in my opinion. So I think we're definitely on the same page with that, right?
Yeah.
So I want to go back to the fitness part of your life, right? Because obviously you working out all the time, and congrats. I think what was you was trying to do the pull-ups. You was trying to get it.
I'm still.
I seen it. Yeah, you doing good. You doing good.
Yeah.
So with fitness and mindset and performance coaching, how do they go hand in hand? I mean, I know it because your mind, body, and spirit, but how important is that a part of the journey of becoming a high performer?
I think that physical fitness is probably one of like top 3 in terms of accomplishing anything great. Making sure that your physical is intact is definitely top 3. We have mindset, obviously. So I think that if you can, and that's one of the first places you can start as far as a challenge. You know, if you want to grow in business, there are certain challenges that you will have to face, certain uncomfortabilities. If you want to grow in whatever other aspect, even relationships, there are certain like obstacles you'll have to work through and challenges. But as far as your body goes, like that is one of the first places you start in terms of what you can control. And if you can push yourself to the limit physically, like in terms of your own body, I feel like that makes you feel like you can do anything. So I think that physical fitness is top 3 in terms of just growth and being extraordinary in anything.
Agreed. Again, not to go back to, but again, the military. Like when I first went, they were saying, like, just asking, what do you think would be the hardest part? They asked everybody. They used to say, well, getting up every morning, having a run, But going in there, I learned that it was difficult if you weren't doing it, but that wasn't even the hardest part. The hardest part was the mental aspect. Because just think about it. Every single morning, you getting up, running and working out. Eventually, your body's going to get used to that, and it's just going to grow, period. But that mental part, it was 10 times harder being sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning and somebody coming into your bed, setting off a fake bomb, waking you up, and you just getting up. Like, it was correct. They did so much crazy stuff that's out there. But experiencing that, it set me up mentally and physically, but I mean it hurt me physically as well, all the stuff we was doing. But nonetheless though, but just trying to compare that to as far as the physical part of how it helps out, right? But so with your being a performance coach, can you walk me through the process of like what the discovery call would look like, just from A to Z? And you don't have to get like full details. Of course I know it's your service, but so what does it look like if I was a client, right? And this is our first call, like take me through that and how it would look. Because somebody may be watching and they want your service and just want to get a little glimpse of what it would be. So what does that look like for you?
That would really start with, like you said, like some type of first call, consultation, discovery call, whatever that, you know, you want to call it. And we just kind of talk for however long we need to talk. You know, I always say give me an hour, but I mean, I'll talk to people for like 3 hours, 4 hours, like
on the first call.
Like it depends on, you know, what it is that you're trying to work through. And I'm very hands-on, and I'm very like, cross your T's, dot your I's. So like, I need every detail. So it really is talking about every detail, and I'm a question asker. So I'm going to ask you, my goal is to ask you questions that make you kind of, you know, introspective. Like makes you really consider and think about other avenues or other things that you might not have considered. Make you see certain blind spots. And I never just want to kind of tell you. So my goal is to always ask the right questions to make you answer the question yourself.
I like that.
So you can feel like, you know, I came up with this answer. So that is, and I feel like that takes time. It takes listening. And sometimes I have to like ask you a lot of little questions before we get to that one big question. That's like that aha moment. And I don't rush that process. So we talk through that, and I make no promises. My only promise is that you're going to become the best version of yourself in this process. And that you're going to really understand what it feels like to, you know, push past your capabilities. And, that's my only goal, is that you understand what it looks like to push past what you thought was a limit. If you can get to that point to where you feel like, I thought I couldn't do this, or I thought this was some type of limitation, but it actually wasn't that bad, or it wasn't that hard, I feel like my job is done. So that is, you know, my focus. So, and I feel like if I can do that within that call, I don't have to explain anything. So my goal is to get to the point to where at the end of the call, I don't have to explain anything. You just know, do I need this or do I not need this? Or was this call enough? And I have no attachment to if you're gonna buy something at the end, if you're gonna work with me, if you're gonna coach with me, like if you feel like you've got a lot in this call and you want another one in 6 months, we can talk about what that looks like. After the the call itself, like I said, whatever you decide, if you feel like I need this weekly, if you feel like I just want to lock you in and I just want to work with you and I just want to be able to call you whenever I want, like, okay, we can talk about what that looks like. All of those are different prices, but we can talk about whatever, or if it's like, I love this, but can't afford it right now, whatever. I have like an online course, I have an online community that you can be a part of, so I have other options for you to choose. And my goal is to create the same effects regardless of what it is that you're going with. So if you work with me one-on-one, I want you to feel how, what I just said, how I want you to feel. But if you are going to work with me within my community, everybody in that community is going to give you that sense. Like, this is not a group of people that need help. This is a group of leaders. This is a group of people who you can brainstorm with, who you can bounce ideas off of, who can give you that same sense of clarity. So it's a community of other leaders. Or if it's a course, like if you feel like, I'm struggling with this one thing, I need this one type of course in this one specific, area that I'm struggling with, discipline, consistency, whatever that might be. I have that for you, and it has all the tools you need, all whatever.
So the course is broken down in those aspects, or is it like in totality, you're going to get some of that from the course?
It's broken down in that. So there is a course on consistency. There is a course on these very specific things. Goal setting in general. Like, some people are so ambitious and they don't even know how to set a goal. Like, they just know that they want all these things, but they don't actually know how to set that goal and make that goal applicable. What's the word? Not applicable. They know how to make that goal
like realistic.
Fruition. I hate that word, but yes. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think I have something for wherever you feel like you're comfortable starting at. It's just, as long as you know all the options that's available, and as long as after that call you feel like I want to continue in some way, shape, or form, like, just let me know what all my options are and I'll pick from that. So that normally is how it goes.
So was it creating that course and all those aspects, was it difficult to do it? Like, was it stressful for you to do that?
No, I mean, the information is there. It's all in my head. I study and I research so much that it's like, and it's fun. Creating those courses it's really fun. And I have the honest belief that I'll never run out of inspiration. I'll never run out of information. So I don't create the courses from a mindset of, let me not give them too much. Like, let me not, it's like, put it all there, and you'll be blessed with more information, more knowledge, more ideas. So, no, the process of making the courses was really fun. The process of creating, the online community is really fun. Looking for those leaders that I want to be in that community. Every part of the process, I think, is enjoyable if you make it enjoyable.
So what do you enjoy most about what you do, though? Is it the results or just helping people? Like, what's that pinnacle? Like, man, this makes me feel good about what I'm doing.
I feel like I enjoy every step. I enjoy learning more and more, acquiring more knowledge. I enjoy like using my platform to help build my brand. I enjoy that. I enjoy the curiosity of thinking about what I can do next. Like, okay, what type of content should I be putting out? It's not like dreadful. It's like, it's just that natural curiosity. I enjoy just asking myself the right questions of like, how do you get more? How do you get more people into this community? How do you get more people like, like, how do you, like, how? That's always been fun for me to explore. And then, of course, I enjoy the process of coaching. That's my favorite part, is to actually coach somebody and be that right-hand person for them. I think that's the best part. If I'm working with somebody, especially somebody who's like powerful, somebody who is like important, somebody who is doing great things, being able to say that I'm their right hand, that is my favorite part of coaching.
Has it ever happened to you? Like, you ran into somebody who was kind of intimidated to kind of coach and help, like even though they're asking me for help, but you're still you, like, why you coming to me? That ever happened?
Definitely. I did go through a phase of feeling like, what do you need from me? Like, oh my God. But when you realize, again, like, it doesn't matter where somebody's starting from. Like, they have the same questions as somebody starting from level 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, how do I get to that next level? Like, what are the challenges I need to overcome? What's the mindset blocks? What are all the things that I need to just overcome to be that next version of myself? So when you realize that everybody's the same, regardless of where they're starting from, I think that intimidation does leave. But I did deal with that a lot.
I can only imagine, because it's like, man, you in quote unquote, you a big old giant. You coming asking me for help, like me. But that's beautiful though. But so check this out. Does the performance coach have a performance coach?
I don't.
Really?
I have people in my life
or mentor. Let me put it like that.
I feel like I have distant mentors. I have mentors for specific things. I have a nonprofit that I'm starting. I have a mentor I'm working with for that. As far as coaching goes, it's not that I haven't looked. I haven't been able to connect with anybody as far as like answering an email, like, you know, the people who I am reaching out to be my mentor. So I make sure that they are my mentor, like, in distance. So I do read all their books. I listen to all their podcasts. Like, I try in some way to get that information. So I think consistently, like, reading, watching podcasts, doing stuff like that does help. But I don't have a coach. And again, it's not that I haven't looked. I am waiting for that right person to come.
It's like how they say a therapist but usually a therapist has a therapist. Because it's like, you taking upon all this trauma, people trauma dumping on you, is like, all that energy is sitting on you. So you got to spit out to somebody else. So, but I think like mentorship is always great. And one that's also helped like relationship building. I'm very fond on knowing relationships are key, right? It's just, no matter what it is, like we was talking earlier, even if it's the mechanic up the street or this millionaire here, that relationship will help you out in the long run. You just never know. Hey, my car may got a $1,000 oil change, but because we sitting here working X, Y, and Z out, hey, you got me, or this millionaire here. I'm starting a nonprofit. Do you want to invest to help me plan out my 501c and all that stuff? So what's your take on relationships?
I think they're extremely important. I think that in the last few years, I've become more connected to it. I think when you start, you're looking for your warm market. You're looking for the people that's around you to support you. And when they don't, you kind of give up temporarily on what, you know, building relationships, nobody supporting me. You kind of gain this, sense of righteousness from doing it yourself. And then you get to a point where you're like, all right, like, I do need some help. So I think that getting through that phase is important. Everybody goes through it, but I have within the last few years connected more to building relationships and what that actually looks like. And like you said, it could be anybody. So not trying to build specific relationships like, oh, this person is accomplishing this, let me connect with this person, but because this person didn't accomplish this yet, you can't help me. Everybody can be helpful in some way, shape, or form. So being open to any level, just connecting with that person. That person could be a potential client. That person can work for you later, or that person can mentor you later. Like, it can be any type of benefit from it. You never know. So treating everybody the same.
Exactly. I agree. So are you, I'm pretty much just probably to say, are you like a mental health advocate?
I am.
So now that you say, cool, great. So I love the topic of mental health, right? Like I say again, therapy has helped me out a lot. It just taught me ways to cope. I don't even want to say cope. Just ways to get through things when times get tough, or you just never know what kind of things life's going to rain down on you, right? So for you talking to all these people, you live in your own life, you have friends, you have family. And wait, are you an introvert or extrovert?
I'm more introverted than anything.
So is it safe to say you are, what they call it, introvert or extrovert when you need to be?
I can be when I need to be,
okay. So having said all that, right, I can guarantee with all the energy you expel, sometimes your cup is not full. And how can we operate on a half full cup or a half empty cup, however you want to see it? So but what does it look like for you to just recharge, to bounce back, to get back in your mental space to where I got the energy to pour out into other people, whether it's walks, prayer, meditation? What is that? What is your process?
On a larger scale, every 90 days I do a week long, and I call it a week to be. So a lot of times we're focusing on doing. I want to just be in that week. So for that week, I might take a vacation, or I might just do it at home. And during that week, I turn my phone off.
For the whole week?
For a whole week. I had my phone.
MIA for a week?
Yeah, I let my clients know, like, hey, look, I'm going to be gone.
No social media. For everybody?
Everybody. God. No social media, no family, no friends, no nothing, just me. Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, I might do a getaway or I might do it at home. And during that week, if I am intaking anything, it's all positive. So I watch positive media. I watch like inspiring documentaries. Like I love The Last Dance. I love
that was a great
the Yeezus, his documentary.
See, I didn't finish that one, but it was dope.
It was really good. Yeah. It was good. Like anything inspiring, I watch it. And that's all I'm watching. Or I'm watching something that's like feel good. Like feel good movies, family movies. Just making sure that I am intaking anything that's going to inspire me or make me like smile, laugh, just feel good. And that's what I do for that week. That's on a larger scale. That's like every 90 days. And then I guess the next step would be like every week. I just make sure like at least a Sunday or someday I make sure to dedicate to doing nothing. Like I have no responsibility.
You need those days for sure.
So basically the same concept, but just on a smaller scale, like a day every, once a week. And then on a daily basis, I am very keen on like doing me before I pour into anybody else. So that day starts with, and that would depend. Like if I don't have much planned for that day, I can get up a little later. But if I know I got a long day planned, then I have to have the discipline to get up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m.
That's your usual wake up time, 5 a.m.?
No, not necessarily. Only if I have a busy day.
Okay.
I don't try to, I think it's also bad for your mental health if you try to aim for something that you feel like you should do because it sounds good or because it sounds noble or because other people are doing it. And if you just can't, then you got to find what works for you. So for me, what works is that regardless of like, depending on what I have to do, if I can at least have an hour to myself. So I just got to ask myself the night before, what does that look like? Do you have to get up at 4 or 5? If you do, then you just got to get up there early.
Ass up, man.
If you don't and you can get up at 8, then that's fine. Then get up at 8. There's no judgment as long as you can have that hour to yourself. So making sure that I have at least an hour. I have a morning routine. I do
was just about to ask
yes.
What the routine look like?
I get up. That morning routine is pretty much stretching, meditating, and like a visualization or like a journal gratitude type of moment. And that's about 45 minutes long. So I do that for about 45 minutes. And then I have this little process called fueling my fire. So with that pretty much means it's like an inspiration hour. And during that, I am making sure that I'm like, I'm getting inspired so that I can make some type of inspiring post, so that I can be more powerful in my sessions. Like, so I'm making sure that I feel incredibly inspired and open, and then I can pour into other people. So I have that little moment, and that might last 30 minutes to an hour. And that looks like going for a walk, reading a book on my craft specifically so that I'm retaining information, listening to some type of audiobook, like pouring into me basically. And then for that 30 minutes or hour, I'm just consistently like speaking incredibly great things over my goals. Like I'm like doing that constantly for that, however long that takes. And then I start my day. So that's the routine. Yeah,
you are deeply in tune with one, self-care, physically, mentally, it sounds like emotionally and spiritually. Like I just wish a lot of people understand. You may not, maybe one day just be that 100% wholesome person, but you got to have some kind of aspect of all of that. Like I even had to learn myself. It's just take care of yourself before you take care of anybody else. The whole cliche saying like when you're on a plane and the mask drop down, what they tell you to do, put your mask on first. But there's so much truth to that because it's like, how do you expect to help someone else if you're just empty on the inside? You're gonna be pouring out like false revelations and you just trying to force it versus if I'm at least 90%, I'm giving you the right advice and this and that. So it's just beautiful to see that you're a person of, hey, let me put myself as a priority, and then whatever comes after that, I can perform my best and my highest for my clients.
And then when I'm not, I'm very okay with like, I can't have a session with you today. Like I'm not feeling it, and I'm very transparent with my clients. Like it don't happen. It don't happen often. So I'm okay with doing it when it does happen. If I am having like an emotionally stressful week or whatever, I'm okay with just like walking away from it, because I feel like when you try to still kind of be half in, half out, that's how it lasts longer. And now you find yourself, you've been in like this 3-month slump. as opposed to just letting yourself kind of like replenish and recover.
Just recharge,
it'll last
man.
a couple days as opposed to lasting longer. So when you can just like feel those feelings and fully engage in whatever that looks like, you'll get over it faster. So I'm also very okay with just like stopping whatever I need to stop so I can, refill.
You in full control. You in full control. So pop quiz. If you had to choose, I don't know, I'm not gonna say 5. You may got 5 on the top of your head. What 3 dream clients to work with?
Oh.
Who would it be? Whether it's celebrities, somebody local, like your 3 dream clients, who would it be? And why?
Oh. That's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer for that. I'm really trying to think.
I narrowed it down to 2 then, since it's gonna be
Okay, 2.
And they might not even have nothing wrong with it. We just want to let me just work with you, try to help add value to whatever it is you got going on.
Right.
You on the clock.
Who would
You on
that
the clock.
be?
You on the clock. You got to be somebody.
I feel like
It's a tough one.
it is.
I think I'm gonna let you slide on.
Okay, wait. I think I got it though. I'll say Megan Thee Stallion.
Okay. All right. I'm digging into that. Okay, Meg.
And who'll be the second? Probably.
First one got me thinking.
You know what? I wouldn't. The second isn't a person, but I would say an athlete. I don't know who, but
Just
a top
an athlete in
athlete.
general?
Just a top athlete.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
okay,
somebody at the
okay.
top of their game.
But what I do
And
want to
athletic.
ask,
Yeah.
why Megan?
You know what? I watched her documentary.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it. And I think she's great. And I think the challenges that she faces are exciting for me. I feel
been
like
through some
somebody
stuff.
who is still able to be great in despite of their challenges, that's the type of person I love to work with. And I think that I'm a problem solver naturally. So if you are not only great and extraordinary, but you are always facing some type of challenge, I think that we're the perfect fit because I'm a problem solver. I love to be in those in those conditions, in those, situations. So I think after watching her documentary, I just thought like, dang, I would love to coach her.
Lend a helping hand to Meg
I
real
would love
quick.
to coach her. So,
And with the athlete, which field of sport? Doesn't matter, just athlete in general.
doesn't matter. Yeah, just an athlete in general.
So Megan.
But somebody at the top of their game for sure. Like somebody that is killing the game.
Tom Brady, would you do that?
Okay, yeah.
I figured. Because he at the top of his game, according to everybody at the top of everybody's game. But
I think taking somebody from, mediocre to good is okay. I think taking somebody from good to great is all right. But I think being able to take somebody from extraordinary and make them even better is a huge challenge. And that's what excites me. So I love working with people who are killing it because I'm like, how I can make you better isn't obvious.
yeah.
And so I really have to dig deep and I really have to get to know you and I really have to actually work. So that's,
So personnel.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, for Coach K, right? What do you see this growing into? I know where you are now, but for anybody who's listening, what do you see this expanding to be in the future? Not even saying 5 years, but just what is that goal to? This is what I want to accomplish, and this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Well, my company is called A New You, and I would love a coaching firm. I would love a firm with other coaches of all different like industries. So a business coach, a marketing coach, a relationship coach, and kind of like a law firm where we all kind
That's
of
dope. I like that concept.
somebody calls and they have this problem, they have this, whatever a company calls and they need to get to the next level, being able to implement all of us or at least a few of us or just our firm in general. To get from one level to the next and having that team of coaches would be powerful. And I think having other coaches that are at the top of their game within my firm would make, obviously the firm even more powerful. So a coaching firm and and also having being able to certify other coaches. That's definitely a big picture. Having a curriculum where we can certify other coaches in other countries, the states, wherever. And then, Yeah, I think that's like top two. That's top two in terms of like ultimate goal, vision.
I love it. I love it. I mean, I know, again, you're going to do everything you said thus far, giving you your flowers for that. Like, whatever you're doing here, the fact that you're helping people in a positive manner, again, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, everybody needs that, right? So, flowers to you for that, right? But the last question I want to ask you, okay? Because you never know who's watching this, who may be listening, right? Young girl, young boy, older guy, older woman. Right. If you could give them any advice or tell them anything as far as from within your space, like what would that be to help motivate them to make that change or make the decision to say, hey, I want to do better for myself. I may need a performance coach, but let me at least take the first step. So what would you tell them?
That's a good question.
Let them know. Let them know.
I would say anytime you set off to set a goal, whatever that might be, the basis of it you should ask yourself what that personal benefit will be. But the very next question you should ask yourself, and what I feel like you should base your goals off of, is how can I set the bar within this? You know, even if it's like relationship based, like if you want a healthy relationship, like it's not just I want a healthy relationship, but how can you set the bar of how relationships have looked in your family thus far? Same thing with business, career, whatever craft that you have. So I think that the basis should be always, when you're setting a goal, is how can I raise the standard? How can I raise the bar? How can I set a new tone? And like, who am I paving a way for? Because I feel like when you're only doing it for you, you can only go so far. But when you think about who can I be an example for, I think that makes you go even further. Yes. So that would be like a starting point for me. Like, that's where you could start, is when you are thinking about your goals, just ask yourself that question of like, who can I pave the way for? Understood.
Yeah. So again, that was very motivational. Like, again, the goal for this podcast, excuse me, I want to say job well done. It has been completed. Okay, there's great. A lot of value, a lot of gems and everything you said, right? So before you do leave, is there any announcements you have, anything coming up you want people to know, and also let them know where to find you, how to contact you, and also render your services?
Okay. Should I put the camera? Or should
I right here? Yeah, you should shot right there. You got you.
I don't like looking at the camera.
It's all good. If you're not comfortable, it's cool.
What you ask me?
So let them know where to find you.
Where to find me?
Your Instagram, socials, and also how to get in touch with running your services for your business.
Okay.
Or if you have any announcements as well you want people to know about.
Yes. Okay. Where to find me? Instagram, Life Coach K. YouTube. My YouTube channel is called If You're Going to Be Your Best. And then what do we have coming up? I have a nonprofit starting in Los Angeles 2025. So we're going to be running quarterly goal setting workshops, monthly personal development workshops. And the location is going to be different every time. So just tune in to see. And join the community. It's a community of leaders. It's an opportunity to network. It's an opportunity to meet other like-minded individuals. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, again, thank you for coming out. I really enjoyed this conversation. But until the audience, until next time, I am Sir Gates. Make sure you follow me on IG at Sir Gates BC. That's SirGatesBC. Follow the podcast and NHERITD Podcast. NHERITD Podcast. Make sure you follow on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, we'll see y'all.
Okay.